Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey everyone, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you on JMOR Tech Talk Show for the week. It has been a little bit crazy, so sorry about that. That's why Friday's show is just getting recorded now. But welcome everyone to JMOR Tech Talk. This is the place where we go through everything that's happening with technology. So, it's so great to have you here. And can you believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we are actually on, yes, we're on series 4, and we're actually on show number 4. So I think that's a pretty amazing thing, if I do say so myself. It is great, great, great to be with everyone here on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Hope you guys have been following a lot with technology, and what's been going on, but there's been a lot going on. So let's just dive right in. The title for today's show, which I think you guys are going to find pretty apropos, and it's From Facebook Retreats to Breakthrough AI and Cybersecurity Battles. Again, this is series 4, show number 4. Of course, if you missed any of the shows or you want to check out other amazing content that I produce, just visit believemeachieve.com, and I'm sure you'll be dazzled and be able to enjoy the great content. So welcome, everyone. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I'm not only a host, but I'm also a podcast coach. So welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. A little bit late, but we do get them out. Again, it's been a little bit crazy with my master's program and some other stuff happening. So trying to see how we can get these out a little bit earlier, but it's just been nuts. All right, everyone. So welcome. Feel free to go get something if you need to at the kitchen there, whether it's something hot, something cold, something, I don't know, healthy, something sweet, whatever it is, go ahead and grab something. The first thing I want to talk about is Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, boy. Yeah, he's been a trip. So Mr. Mark Zuckerberg turns his back on the media. Yes, Mark Zuckerberg, once committed to addressing misinformation and hate speech on his platform, has now shifted his approach to now suddenly distancing himself from the media and stepping back from his previous efforts to work in with them. I don't know what Mark's up to. In 2018, Zuckerberg shared plans to improve content moderation after facing backlash over Facebook's role in spreading disinformation. However, over the past 2 years, his company has increasingly adopted a new strategy, weakening its commitment to truth and moving away from its past media partnerships. This marks a significant turn in Zuckerberg's relationship with both the press and content regulation. So, I've lost a lot of respect for Mark. I mean, the way he started his company was basically, in my book, a crime. He robbed things right from people that he knows. But the fact that Zuckerberg turned his back on the media, I think this is really a big problem and something that I think needs to be addressed by the DOJ and definitely the Digital Services Act, European Union, because, those are the people that actually seem to give a darn. Everyone else doesn't really care unless it becomes a problem for them, right? All right. So just want to let you know what's happening there. And it's a problem that he did this. The way Facebook is now trying to combat misinformation It's a problem. It's really a problem. So we'll keep you abreast of what's happening with that. And the DOJ does something very interesting. It confirms an arrested soldier that was linked to an AT&T Verizon set of hacks. U.S. prosecutors have confirmed that Cameron John Wagnius, a U.S. Army communication specialist who was arrested recently in December last year, is connected to a massive data breach involving AT&T and Verizon. Wagnis is accused of unlawfully transferring confidential phone records, a case linked to previous hacks at cloud company, you probably know the name, Snowflake, which impacted multiple companies, including AT&T and Verizon. The hackers stole sensitive data such as phone records, personal details, and financial information. This breach, one of the largest cyber attacks of the past year, was reportedly made possible by stolen employee passwords and a lack of multi-factor protection at Snowflake. So, I mean, who do you blame in this case, right? I mean, obviously it's the person that did something wrong, but I mean, why? I guess why is it that John Wagnis was able to get away with this? Do we blame Snowflake? I would kind of have to say yes. I would say that they were definitely negligent in what happened. So it's interesting that this came up, and you know, the U.S. Attorney Tessa Gorman told the Seattle court that both cases that were heard arose from the same computer intrusion and extortion and included some of the same stolen victim information. As such, these cases rely on overlapping evidentiary material and legal process and arguably present common questions of law and fact. The question is, this is my big question. What is Snowflake, doing now to protect itself? You know, it's crazy that this can actually happen. And with the fact of them, charging these two hackers. I mean, I know just in my own town, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but there were several people that worked at this, I'll call it a makeshift cellular company in Franklin Lakes. And basically, they owned several stores. They were owned for many years, and they still operate others. But the people they bring on, well, let's just say they're kind of characters, and I don't mean Disney people. Well, it was so bad that actually Franklin Lakes Police Department had issued warrants for 4 people's arrests. I believe 2 or 3 were found, and I think one was actually able to leave the country somehow. I don't know why, but there is one hacker, Alexander Muka. I think he was the one. Yeah, he was arrested, and the second, Connor Riley Muka, is in Turkey. Both were arrested for extorting dozens of victims. So this is a very, very big problem, I want to say. And despite these successful takedowns, there's still a third hacker that is now out there on the loose. And this hacker is known as Kipper Phantom, could well be a U.S. military member stationed in South Korea. Ooh, that is terrible. I hope Mr. Trump, President Trump, actually gets involved with these things. So the type of data available, whether personal or corporate, makes it particularly alluring and lucrative for such cyber terrorists. Though complex, a typical process involves data exfiltration, followed by ransom demands or the selling off of the data. That means that sensitive business information could leak, leading to lost revenue or reputational damage. Moreover, individuals could fall victim to identity fraud. This is just crazy. My question is, what is Snowflake now doing to protect itself? And I don't really know if they're doing much or they've really made it public. They've explained, kind of what happened. And they said a limited number of customer accounts were affected. And Snowflake initially had stated this, but with what we now know, it was a full-blown malware attack that led to high volumes of compromised customer data ending up on the dark web. So the breach was really, really big. Snowflake hasn't really come clean on everything. Nevertheless, we were able to find out that they were responsible for lack thereof securing their data. And the third party contractor theory was further strengthened by the hacker themselves. A shiny Hunter's representative told several places that they were first breached as a third party contractor. It all started when InfoStealer malware accessed an employee's computer and stole unencrypted Snowflake credentials stored on Jira, which is a project management system. The hackers were then able to log into Snowflake account because multi-factor authentication wasn't enabled. Shame on you, Snowflake. You should require everyone to enable two-factor authentication. I think that is really, really bad. How did Snowflake resolve it? Well, they involved the cybersecurity expertise of what they called Mandiant to investigate the matter. After it identified what had caused the breach, Snowflake informed its customers of the breach and recommended that they implement MFA, multi-factor authentication. Great, Snowflake. Thank you so much. That's like telling us, what we need to do after the fact. I mean, why weren't you proactive in the beginning? That's my concern. So I have really lost a lot of respect for Snowflake, and I've lost a lot of respect for how the military is really keeping tabs on people, especially people in the military. So Snowflake is an American cloud-based data storage company. It's headquartered in Bozeman, Montana, and operates a platform that allows for data analysis and simultaneous access of data sets with minimal latency. It operates on Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud's platform. Unfortunately, they need to really step up their security. So we'll have to see what happens there. We will definitely keep you in the loop to what is going on. All right, everyone. And here's one I think you guys are going to find enlightening. PowerSchool. Do you guys know what PowerSchool is? So PowerSchool is one of several, let's call it applications, software as a service systems that are supposedly there to help schools track all their information about students, get their assignments. They can do all kinds of stuff. They can market to the students, to the parents. Now they have PowerSchool AI, and they have things like PowerSchool AI, Power Buddy, Power Buddy for assessment, Power Buddy for college and career. So this is not just for the lower grades anymore. So I think it's interesting that this is being used. But what's really interesting is that PowerSchool had a breach and victims decided to take action. Victims of the PowerSchool data breach are uniting to crowdsource cybersecurity solutions after the company's lackluster communication in the wake of the recent challenge and breach. This collaboration among affected individuals aims to create a more transparent and secure approach to handling sensitive student data, highlighting the critical need for schools to invest in robust cybersecurity infrastructure. So my question right now is, what is PowerSchool doing about the breach? And following the recent data breach, PowerSchool, claim, quote unquote, is actively investigating the extent of the breach, notifying affected individuals, and offering 2 years of complimentary identity protection service. Whoopee. Including credit card monitoring for adults to all students and educators whose information was compromised. Big deal. They're also working with law enforcement to monitor for any future data exposure and are reviewing their internal security measures to prevent future incidents. That's a very, very vague statement. So the fact that PowerSchool is providing free identity protection services through Experian for affected individuals, credit monitoring for adults, okay, it's a nice little appetizer. and they're actively contacting schools, individuals whose data may have been compromised. Well, I mean, you have to do that. If you don't do that, you wouldn't be very ethical. And PowerSchool is still investigating. The breach allowed hackers to access PowerSchool's student information system, SIS, essential database containing a wealth of student and staff data. PowerSchool didn't begin to communicate with customers about the data breach until January 7, 2025. I don't know, PowerSchool. I have a real big problem with this. I mean, you got to come clean. Um, they claimed on January 24th that their site will be updated as they learn about more information and take additional steps in response to the recent security incident attack. As part of the commitment to their customers, individuals whose information was involved, as I said, they have expanded their resources to include additional FAQ sections and things like that. But that's nice. And they thank you for your continued support. But my thing is, you might be asked this. So what does PowerSchool store? Well, the question is, what doesn't it store? It's a cloud-based software system that stores and manages student information, documents, and grades. It also allows users to electronically sign documents and distribute them to faculty. So we're talking about medical records. We're talking about student grades. We're talking about behavior management. We're talking about their email distribution system. And so people have asked this question: what database does PowerSchool use? Well, their server, it's a Microsoft Windows solution with an Oracle database, and the PowerSchool Tomcat application node resides on the same server. This covers the needs of all districts of up to 3,000 student enrollment at one time with having their system. So people say to me, what are the disadvantages of PowerSchool? Let's talk about that. Scheduling students could use a lot more streamlined approach. This is from many administrators. This doesn't come from me. Learning how to use PowerSchool can be a little bit of a learning curve and quite intimidating at first, as many school administrators and teachers have said. Some of the selections in the program are small and hard to read or see, so I guess they really got to work with the UI a little bit better. PowerSchool offers cloud-based solutions that deliver a full range of mission-critical capabilities K through 12, but they're expanding now to colleges. And so, yes, PowerSchool is using SQL for extracting, analyzing educational data, and structuring large-scale databases to track student performance and outcomes. So I just have a problem, ladies and gentlemen, with the fact that PowerSchool was so lackadaisical, carefree. Was a big problem for me. All right. And a new not a new EV, but it's been around for a while. The EV startup Canoo files for bankruptcy. Electric vehicle startup Canoo has filed for bankruptcy, citing the mounting financial struggles that were happening, and failed partnerships are the key factors in why it had gone downhill. Despite earlier hopes for disrupting the EV market, the company couldn't overcome financial instability and operational challenges, raising questions about the future viability of new players in the high competitive EV industry. I think, there's so many players trying to come into the EV world, but it's like, everybody wants to open a business, right? But they don't realize that you have to do certain things, right? Like get insurance. They say, let me just operate, right? Like a lot of these people on the, let's say on the street, they go and open a pop-up stand to sell things, or a truck. I mean, yes, they have to get their health permits and things like that, but there's more to it than that. And so a lot of businesses can skate by and not do the appropriate things. And there's some sad times for Amazon. Amazon pauses their drone deliveries. Yes, they paused their drone deliveries on their ambitious drone delivery program after testing revealed crashes that highlighted serious safety concerns. The company is now refocusing its efforts on software improvements and expanding its drone initiatives internationally, signaling the complexity of rolling out such cutting-edge technology on a global scale. My big question is, Will there be a rider offered soon for those that use drone delivery? People are asking, does it have a future? It's the commercial relative of the military and industrial drone application, and it's ready to scale, they say. There's been lots of back and forth in 2022, operational pilots, iterations, technological advancements, and in 2023 and 2024, it started to take off, but it's hitting some roadblocks, to say the least. Amazon Prime Air had, like I said, launched their service, but later have decided to table it until they can get their software working better. But the question is, the real truth about drone delivery, no one is really talking about. So when will drone delivery become a reality? People say it's sweet to order stuff online and get it dropped off super quickly, but are there other challenges that we're not aware of? Yeah, there are. Drone delivery has been over all the news with Amazon and many others. In fact, in 2015, Dave Voss, the former head of Google's Project Wing, said to the audience, quote, "Our goal is to have commercial businesses up and running in 2017. FedEx, UPS, DHL, and Walmart have announced they are interested in drone delivery. But, if we fast forward, we'll see that a lot of them are having problems, like the FAA's Part 107 drone regulations. Part 107 does not allow air carrier operation, meaning a citizen of the United States undertaking by any means, directly or indirectly, to provide air transportation, means foreign air transportation, interstate air transportation, or the transportation of mail by aircraft. So they're going to have to change some stuff, right? I mean, they always find loopholes, right? There's another problem. The FAA Section 44807, exemption for commercial drone operations. So Part 107 does not allow the drone delivery to the general public. The other way is to fly under Part 91, which requires the aircraft to be airworthy. Here's our problem. There are no drones with airworthiness currently out there. The way around this is the operator obtains a Section 44807 exemption determination from the DOT, Department of Transportation, saying the drone doesn't need an airworthiness certificate. It's a very lengthy process and requires a lot of paperwork. The Section 44807 is only for the aircraft. You still need an exemption from parts of Part 135 to carry packages for other people. If you think the exemption process is a little bit challenging and confusing, wait till you get to Part 135. The aircraft carrier's process can be brutal. So, problem 3, states, counties, cities, and towns all regulating drones to death by 1,000 paper cuts. Amazon's business model is that the drones will provide a lower cost of delivery, but we saw what happened to them. So the question is it going to be a while? It's going to be a while. We're not getting deliveries with drones for a little while. Now, could that be 6 months? I don't know the exact date. But the question is, it's taking a lot of money to even get these things close to operations. We see what happened with Amazon with their pause on Amazon drone delivery just not too long ago. They've realized that they've got to spend more time. And even though they had the FAA kind of, in their ball court, now that they've made some mistakes, the FAA is kind of like, wait a minute, maybe we've got to be a little more strict. And ChatGPT now has announced that their product head is going to testify in the Google antitrust case. This is a pivotal moment for the tech world, and the product head of the ChatGPT is set to testify in Google's antitrust case, which could have significant implications for the role of artificial intelligence in shaping competition and market access. This testimony will shed light on how AI tools like ChatGPT are reshaping the dynamics of the digital marketplace. Netradyne secures a $90 million set of funding to expand AI dashcams. This is new AI technology, and it's a company that just popped up. Netradyne, they've raised the $90 million to accelerate the development and the global rollout of its AI-powered dashcams. This funding will help Netradyne expand its operational internationally, reinforcing the growing demand for AI-based solutions in industries like transportation, and fleet management. So the question, ladies and gentlemen, is, how is this going to affect everyone? The question is, will people use Netradyne? And I think there's a lot of unanswered questions about that. They call it seriously intelligent fleet technology with seriously impactful results. So they're not designing this for your car. They're designing this for companies that have large fleets of drivers. They say their system stays sharp, attention, so your drivers can too. No napping on the road, neither by your drivers nor your coaching software. Their technology says it detects distracted driving behaviors like being overcome by drowsiness or the urge to text about sports. An audio alert brings driver focus back to the road, helping to avoid accidents. So this is pretty interesting that this is all happening. And I'll tell you, there are cars out there now. My own car does this. And so if you happen to not have the full touch on the wheel, guess what's going to happen? It's going to give you a little chime, and it indicates that it's time for you to take a break. I think that's great. I think that's something that every car should have. It shouldn't just be on the more luxury cars, and that should be a requirement. And I think eventually it will be. Perplexity. Yes, Perplexity acquires Read.cv. Well, who the heck is Read.cv? So Read.cv is winding down, and it was a professional networking platform, similar to LinkedIn, but not quite as robust as that. And Perplexity acquires Read.cv. So you might be asking me, who is Perplexity? That's a great question. Perplexity right now is a free AI-powered answer engine that provides accurate, trusted, and real-time answers, they claim, to any question. So the thing is, you might be asking, how does Perplexity, make its money? And I think it's in its beginning stages. Perplexity generates revenue with a paid version of the search engine that generates more detailed responses than the free edition. So the question you might be asking, and that's a very good question to ask, how much is Perplexity? Well, again, there is a free version, and the professional is $20 per month or $200 per year, and over 300 pro searches per day. Access to the advanced AI models like GPT-4 and Claude 3, unlimited file uploads, image generation tools, and $5 per month in API credits. So it's obvious that they want to give us something free so you can play with it and see if it's something that you want to pay more money on. And Bluesky expands moderation team amid rapid growth. Bluesky, the decentralized social media platform, has seen a surge in moderation reports following rapid user growth. In response to the platform expanding its moderation team and enhancing its tools to manage content more effectively, aiming to balance user freedom with necessary controls as it scales. So I think this is just a concern for a lot of people because they don't necessarily know what's going to happen. What is the fate of Bluesky? And again, to meet the demands, they are launching more moderation. And so in Bluesky's world, in 2024, it went from 2.89 million users to 25.94 million users. Wow. In addition to users hosted on Bluesky's infrastructure, there are over 4,000 users running their own infrastructure, PDS or personal data servers, self-hosting their content, posts, and data. So to meet the demand caused by user growth, they increased their moderation team to roughly 100 moderators. There have been lots of challenges. There have been lots of spam. There have been violations. There has been misleading data. There has been a ton of sexual content that is inappropriate. There has been rude content, and then, of course, there's been others. In the late August, there was a huge increase in user growth for Bluesky from Brazil, and they saw spikes of up to 50,000 reports per day. Prior to this, the moderation team handled most reports within 40 minutes. For the first time in 2024, they had a backlog in moderation reports. To address this, they increased the size of Their Portuguese language moderation team added constant moderation sweeps and automated tooling for high-risk areas such as child safety, and hired moderators through an external contracting vendor for the first time. So why are they doing this? Basically, they had anti-social behavior reports of harassment, trolling, or intolerance, 1.75 million. That's absurd. Misleading content, including impersonation, misinformation, or false claims about identity or affiliations, 1.20 million. Spam, excessive mentions, replies, or repetitive content, 1.40 million. Unwanted sexual content, nudity, or adult content that was not properly labeled, 630,000. Illegal or urgent issues, clear violations of the law or other terms of service, 933,000. And other issues that don't fit into any one of these categories, 726,000. So again, the top human applied labels were sexual figurative at 55,422, rude 22,412, spam 13,201, intolerance 11,341, and threats at 3,046. In 2024, 93,076 users submitted at least one appeal in the app for a total of 205,000 individual appeals. For most cases, the appeal was due to disagreement with label verdicts. In 2024, Bluesky moderators took down 66,308 accounts, and automated tooling took down 35,842 accounts for reasons such as spam and bot networks. Mods took down another 6,334 records, posts, lists, feeds, etc., while automated systems removed 282. In January this month, 2025, they have already built in policy reasons to Ozone, their open source moderation tool, and it will give them more granular data on the takedown rationale moving forward. In 2024, they received 238 requests from law enforcement, government, legal firms, and they responded to 182 and compiled with the compliance for 146. The major of the requests came from German, US, Brazilian, and Japanese law enforcement. So just to give you a little bit of an understanding, user data requests, 111, responded 87, data preservation requests, 8, responded 8, emergency data requests, 13, responded to 12, takedown requests, 45, responded to 22, inquiries, 44, responded to 36, subpoenas by court, 17, they responded to every one of them, 17. So I think as any company grows and gets bigger, there's always these kinds of challenges. So we'll keep you in the loop of that, ladies and gentlemen. And ChatGPT enhances custom instructions for users. ChatGPT is rolling out enhanced custom instructions that allow users to personalize their interactions more deeply. This new feature is designed to improve the user experience, enabling individuals to set specific preferences and tailor their ChatGPT interactions to better suit their life and their world on ChatGPT. So you might be asking, and it's a very good question, what were specifically, and I'll give them to you, what were some of these enhancements? What were some of the enhancements? And so I think the easiest way to say this is that, the custom instructions allow you to share anything you'd like ChatGPT to consider in its response. Custom interactions were added to new conversations that could go forward. Custom interactions are available on all plans on the web, iOS, and Android. So how would you like to chat with GPT? Like examples, limit the scope, etc. There were things about how to customize ChatGPT to be flirty, how to write instructions for ChatGPT, so things like that. But they also allowed people to, if I will, create the way the avatar, the way the system responds. Just to give you an example, with chat systems, you have to be extremely specific on what it is that you want it to do. You can't say edit this or edit that. You have to be very specific. And ladies and gentlemen, Amazon leads, I don't know if you know this, in renewable energy purchases. Amazon is leading the change and the field of renewable energy purchases, outpacing its closest competitor, ladies and gentlemen, in both scale and ambition. The company's commitment is sustainability is making waves in the corporate world as Amazon continues to push toward its ambitious goals of achieving net zero carbon emissions. Now, you might be asking this question: who are Amazon's closest competitors? And as you probably would guess, there are a few. Believe it or not, Walmart is a competitor of Amazon, eBay, Netflix, Alibaba, Etsy. Um, these are all competitors of Amazon. So it's interesting, but I think at the same token, just because they're doing something good doesn't mean we can overlook all the bad things that they're doing. See, they're trying to do this stuff so that we get on the map, but I think there's more to it than that, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. All right, let's move on to another important one, which is Europe demands X's or Twitter's algorithm documentation. In a move to enforce stricter regulations, European authorities are demanding that X, formerly Twitter, provide detailed documentation of its algorithm to comply with the Digital Services Act, the DSA. This deemed from the demand, highlighting the increasing regulatory scrutiny social media platforms are facing, particularly regarding transparency and how content is moderated. Now, we know that Twitter and X, good old Elon, really didn't want to give these documents. So the question is, and this is a very good question, will X give Europe the algorithm docs? They've asked for them. They've ordered X to hand them over. And the EC has also requested access information how X moderates and amplifies content. The question you might ask is, when does X have to give the documents to the European Union by? And so they have requested information, and so it needs to be done pretty quickly. I think the last time they requested it, they said that the internal documents to X had to be provided by February 15th. It's part of an investigation by the European Commission under the DSA, the Digital Services Act. So we know a lot of platforms that got in trouble, whether we're talking about Google, whether we're talking about Amazon, even Yelp, right? A lot of these platforms are just doing things because they think they can because they have so much money, but they're starting to realize that they're going to get burned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and Apple decides to halt AI news summaries amid some big backlashes. Apple has decided to halt its AI-generated news summaries after facing backlash over inaccuracies in the summaries. The company has supposedly pledged to improve the transparency and reliability of all its AI tools, underscoring the challenges tech companies face when using AI to generate content for more consumption. Wow, that's a lot. I mean, the question that I have for everyone is, how will Apple know that the information is truly right? We all know how well that AI just kind of like messes things up. And MIT spinout is kind of interesting. NeuroBionics pioneers medical advancements. NeuroBionics, a spinout from MIT, is making a groundbreaking set of strides in medical technology with its pioneering brain fiber insertion technique. This next generation approach to medical advancements has the potential to revolutionize treatments for neurological conditions, highlighting the intersection of technology and health innovation. So I think one thing about AI is that it's really giving people more information. The question is, the information that's first coming off is not always that good. You probably knew that, right? It's not always that good. And if it's not always that good, how do we know when the data actually is good? I think that's a real problem for a lot of people. But I think it's something that we all need to be concerned about because AI is everywhere. whether you're at the airport. And although you can choose to mitigate what information you pass off to AI, there's still some breaches. There's still some leaks happening. All right. So I think this is a serious situation. But getting back about technology right now, we think about, what's going on, like what is the latest AI tech now? And if we had to, dive into that, it's more about generative AI. Um, you know, Things like people wanting to use technology to solve problems in a quicker way. But quicker doesn't always mean better, right? We're seeing it in healthcare. We're seeing it in biometrics. We're seeing it in reinforcement learning. We're seeing it in predictive AI analytics. We're seeing it in chatbots and virtual assistants, sales and marketing. We're seeing it in data analytics. So, robots are not new, but I think the interesting part is that now that we couple AI with it, it opens up a whole new set of Pandora's boxes. Multimodal models in AI can depict information from different data types, whether it be audio, video, still images, and even plain text. So the technology is enabling search and content creation tools to become more seamless. Some of the latest tools you might be familiar with, like DALL-E, that can take things and literally you type them and it supposedly gives you a graphic. I've tried it. It's not perfect. But the big thing in AI that's coming is agentic AI. It's a form of AI that can be autonomously used without constant human guidance. It's capable of learning from interactions, and it's supposedly the new branch of AI. And I think it'll really help a lot of different disciplines. One of the most advanced AIs is being used in robotics. Mecha, the world's most advanced human-shaped robot, represents the forefront of human robotic technology, designed as a platform for development in future robotic technologies. Mecha is the perfect humanoid robot platform for human-robot interactions. And we're seeing so many other companies dive into AI and trying to decipher, is it really better to do something with AI or is it just better to do it in person? And I think AI is very good for doing tasks that we're able to repeat and we get it to understand. So if we wanted a human to, let's say, box a million records, well, that's something that a machine is better off doing. The other benefit of using artificial intelligence is that it keeps the human safe. Now, safe meaning that if there's a task it's doing, like maybe it's doing toxic cleanup, right? You see these people with these suits, and they used to charge a couple $1,000s an hour, hazmat, right? And so, that's a big thing, and I think that's an interesting question to ask. What does if you had a spill, God forbid, what does hazmat charge per hour to clean up? And the number, has dramatically gone up depending on the threats and things. But you're talking per hour, and that's a man hour. You're talking roughly about $1,000. If you're talking about, that's your so you're talking about your basic stuff. But if you're talking about a typical, like a typical set, you're talking somewhere around a project $3,000 to $5,000. Biohazards can be anywhere from 10, 30, 50 to even thousands to millions of dollars. So a crime scene cleanup can cost $1,000 to $5,000 to decontaminate, etc. So laboratory workers come in when there's a hazmat spill. I know a lot about hazmat because my parents had a dry cleaning plant that they sold in 2004. And I have to tell you that we were always very particular about our chemicals, how they're being used, what the process was. So when we finished with a chemical, that we were safe and we were, in good way. We put the gloves on, we ventilated. We also did something called the OSHA, Occupational for Safety and Health Administration. I'm not sure if you guys know OSHA. OSHA and the what we call the right to know. And so the reason I bring this up to you, it refers to the requirement under the Occupation for Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, a hazard communication standard, which mandates employers to inform their employees about hazardous chemicals present in the workplace. Essentially, it gives workers the right to know about potential dangers they may face on the job. It is their choice whether they want to stay working there or not. I think when we talk about AI and we talk about it making decisions, I think it's good to help us infer the data or maybe give us some guidance. But I don't think that we should be using AI in a manner that is going to replace humans. Another example of AI might be there's a bomb threat. So they send robots under the building and in the building to make sure that everything's okay. Or maybe there was a fire and they want to check some things out. I remember living in a building and they sent this robot, which is probably no bigger than maybe it was probably no bigger than, I'm going to say about maybe the third or 1/4 the size of my keyboard. Probably no bigger than, maybe a little bigger than my telephone on my desk. So thinking about AI has opened up so many potentials to people that want to make money. The biggest challenge I see with AI is people are rushing in to go build everything, but then you know what happens? They actually are doing the wrong thing because they haven't done the right research. They haven't figured out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And I feel this is our biggest nemesis when it comes to AI. The fact that people want to make money with AI, I don't have a problem with that. But the fact that people want to suddenly skip the line and just use AI in a manner that is very, very unprofessional. I have one more topic I want to talk about, and that is the, will TikTok get banned? And, you know, Trump signed an executive order, if you remember, but actually it was last Saturday. I believe it was last Saturday. They had to be offline by, I believe it was 12 noon. And so they had to be offline by 12 noon, actually 12 midnight, sorry. And so they took themselves down at 10:30. And lots of people were complaining they couldn't use TikTok, they couldn't use CapCut, and all this other stuff they couldn't use. So when people tried to sign on, they got basically thank you for your patience, or something to the fact that you can't use TikTok right now because it wasn't TikTok that shut down. It was all the U.S. contractors and conglomerates around the United States that didn't want to get hit yin-yang with these large fines. So Trump signed an order, meaning for TikTok, and who might buy it. In fact, after they talked with Donald Trump, actually he made a post on one of the boards. That was enough for them 6 years later to turn on TikTok that Sunday. So their message was, welcome back. Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the United States. You continue to create, share, and discover all the things you love on TikTok. So the U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order granting TikTok a 75-day extension to comply with a law banning the app if it has not sold. The social media platform briefly went dark, as you remember, in the U.S. just days before he took office, after the Supreme Court denied a bid by its Chinese owner, ByteDance, to overturn the legislation. TikTok came back online with a short message thanking Trump for its efforts, as I mentioned. So has Trump overturned the TikTok ban? So the executive order is an instruction of the president, which has the weight of the law behind it. But Trump's order does not overturn the ban. Instead, it tells the U.S. Attorney General not to enforce the law for now, something experts had expected would be his first move. That buys time for the administration to, as the order puts it, determine the appropriate course of action. So I think that's pretty much what they're doing right now. And so, what this means is Trump has floated the possibility of TikTok becoming a joint venture, telling reporters he was seeking a 50-50 partnership between the United States and ByteDance. Though he did not give any future details on how that might work, he just stated that I think TikTok was where I think he wanted something like, I think the value of TikTok, if you remember now, the value of TikTok was like 200 million. Yeah, the value of TikTok was like 200 million. But he made a very interesting point, is that if the U.S. don't come online, then TikTok's worth nothing. So that's why he feels that the U.S. should get 100 million for being partners and managing it and things like that. Again, for now, the order creates a situation where the president is directly opposing a ruling made by the Supreme Court, which upheld the law to ban TikTok on January 17th. And it's interesting. It said the ban was designed to prevent China, a designated foreign adversary, from leveraging its control over ByteDance to capture personal data of the U.S. TikTok users. Technically, even after 75 days have passed, it would be possible for Trump to allow the law to stand, but tell the Department of Justice to continue to ignore it. The government would be effectively telling Apple and Google they will not be punished for continuing to allow people to download TikTok onto their devices, meaning the law would remain in place, but would essentially be redundant. Sounds like a mess, if you ask me. It's not clear whether the firms would continue to offer the app under these circumstances, and could TikTok ever be banned in the UK? Well, that's a very good question. Analysis have suggested it's just a matter of time until the U.S. ban on TikTok spreads to allied countries and beyond if Trump's administration decides to keep it offline. The app has been switched off in America as the U.S. lawmakers had come back with their voice. And incoming President Trump indicated, though he is opposed to the ban, it will find a way to reverse it. In fact, I remember originally he said that the real reason he wanted to keep TikTok up and running was because it actually helped bring him some of the younger votes. So I think we're going to just have to wait and see, what's happening with TikTok. Where are they going? What's going to happen? Will the same thing happen again? I mean, it was like nobody could breathe. I got so many messages. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can't use this app. Can't use that app. So what is it about TikTok that draws Americans to it? I mean, what if we had our own platform in the United States? I mean, it would definitely be better. I know it's an international platform. I know they have these crazy dance routines that people always try to do, but they've had a lot of bad things on their platform too. So does it just mean that we've got to step up moderation? Does it mean that U.S. data only gets held in the United States and that data is separated from the data that ByteDance has in another country? I don't know. But these are the questions that I think many people have to get answers to before we know what's going to happen. And the other big question you might be asking is, who will buy TikTok? Well, that's a more loaded question. The outlet reported the White House is negotiating a deal with the company and a group of investors that would allow TikTok's current owner, Chinese company ByteDance, to maintain a minority stake in the company, while Oracle controls its algorithm, data collection, and software updates, according to two unnamed sources. Who's thinking of buying TikTok? Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, Canadian investor and star of the reality television show Shark Tank, has expressed strong interest in buying TikTok. He has joined the People's Bid for TikTok, an effort led by Project Liberty founder Frank McCourt. Does Mr. Beast want to buy TikTok? Jimmy Donaldson, a.k.a. Mr. Beast. He was excited as he told his tens of millions of TikTok followers about his bid to buy the platform. I don't know. Everything that he does, though, is usually for some kind of notoriety. It's not for anything that's going to help anyone else. I mean, at least that's what I've seen. Everything that he does, it's about money. He has done some good things for people that are in need, but most of the stuff he does, it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, building a bunker and having people live down there and giving them money. I mean, I get it, but like, it's just a very, very off-balance idea, if you ask me. And I think right now, as we wait, for the answer for TikTok, and this is interesting. So when will TikTok be sold? And I think the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is we don't know. Is TikTok going to be sold to Elon Musk? Well, Bloomberg News reported last week that Chinese officials were in preliminary talks about potential option to sell TikTok's operation in the United States to Musk, though the company has denied that. So it seems like TikTok is very picky who they sell it to. Um, I think it's something that a lot of people are concerned about. And the thing that's very interesting that President Trump said is that the reason that TikTok has so much power is because it has so many users. If the US were to drop out tomorrow, TikTok might not even be worth $10,000. So that means a bulk of the users, and this is a very good point, the bulk of TikTok users come from, where do you think they come from? Yes. The bulk of the users, okay, come from the United States compared to other countries, okay? So that's quite a bit. In fact, the US has 120.5 million. Brazil has 105, Mexico 77 million, Vietnam is 65 million. So it has a very large reach. And if you want to know who basically connects with TikTok the most, it's a little split, but it's users male 25 to 34, and that's about 90%. On the other hand, the spectrum, males and females 55 plus are the smallest group of 3.7%. And the country with the most TikTok downloads is India. Now, my question is, will India ever ban TikTok? Well, will it get banned? In 2020, TikTok was banned in India on the national security grounds. The Ministry of Electronics and IT opposed the misuse of the mobile applications. So the question is, can I use TikTok in India right now? And it works on Wi-Fi in India, but it does not work on the rest of their networks. Wow, we have gone through a lot. Like I said, from the Facebook retreat of Mr. Mark Zuckerberg all the way out to the breakthroughs in AI, some good, some bad. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now, but if you do not know, please allow me to give you my name. I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I am a podcast host and a podcast coach, and I create lots of content to empower you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to go check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And you know what? I'm going to catch you guys next week, which incidentally, that will be the last episode in January. And then we'll be going on to February. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day and your week. Catch you real soon, everyone.